With the release of Fontaine, the first 5-star character we're getting is Lyney. In this video, I will present you all the information you might need to play and build him. If you're wondering how I got the footage so early, it's thanks to Hoyoverse for allowing me onto media server before the update. Let's go straight into what Lyney does. We will then discuss in this order talents, artifacts, stats, weapons, and teams. Then showcase his usage with a commentary. Lyney is a 5-star pyro bow user that performs incredibly well in mono pyro teams and includes a charge attack mechanic similar to Ganyu or Tignari. Lyney's normal attack talent is the most important part of his kit. It includes a charging mechanic with 2 levels. A charged attack of level 1 is a standard charged bow attack. The level 2, however, will fire off a stronger arrow that, upon hit, creates a green milking hat. It will taunt enemies once every 5 seconds, and deal damage when destroyed or expires. You can only have one of them out at a time at C0. When firing off a level 2 charge attack arrow, if Lyney has more than 60% HP, he will consume 20% of it, and gain 1 prop surplus stack, with a max of 5 stacks, that will be removed if out of combat for 30 seconds. Lyney cannot drop below 60% while using those arrows. Every 6 seconds, these arrows will also deal an extra small instance of pyro damage that is pneuma lined. Sorry, I still don't know how to pronounce this. However, it's a very useful mechanic against certain Fontaine enemies. His elemental skill will clear all the prop stacks, deal AoE pyro damage, and heal him. Both the damage and the heal scale off the amount of stacks consumed. It generates 5 pyro particles and its damage is considered charge attack damage. His burst is rather simple. It will shift him into a giant cat, dealing damage once per enemy on its way, with a final instance dealing high pyro damage. It will also summon one of his mini taunts and grant him a prop stack. Lyney's gameplay will want you to increase the stack count via charge attacks or burst, then finally consuming them with his elemental skill, healing him back up and ending his usual rotation. His Ascension 1 talent makes him restore 3 energy when his mini taunt hits an opponent and increases his damage further. His Ascension 4 instead is the core of his team building and increases his overall damage by 60% when attacking enemies affected by pyro, further boosting it by 20% for each pyro unit aside from him in the team, up to 2, and for a total of 100% extra damage. This passive is massive for Lyney's damage and cuts him out of basically any reaction like melt or vape. It's vital that he attacks enemies affected by pyro at basically all the time. As a priority for his talents, you should level up the normal attack talent first and then either the burst or the skill. The burst if used every rotation, the skill if not. I would personally go for as high as possible with the normal attack talent and then leave both skill and burst 1 or 2 levels below but at the same level. Lyney's kit synergizes extremely well with the new set Sea Hunter. It is able to use both the 2-piece and the 4-piece bonus perfectly, and when paired with a healer, usually Bennett, by the time the second charge attack is done, he will already have 3 stacks, granting him a total of 36% crit rate and 15% charge attack damage. A huge bonus for him. It must be noted, however, that he can use different sets like Shimenawa or Vermilion or even more. Shimenawa will make him have to open his rotation with a 0 stack skill, but he will have max stacks and uptime from the second rotation onwards. Vermilion can be great for him if at your disposal and will provide a huge amount of attack that is however not always the best option for someone often paired with Bennett and basically always on a pyro resonance. It's still a great option but requires to constantly burst and open with it. Other sets that can be great for Lyney are Lava Walker, Retracing Bowlight, and actually Desert Pavilion, since it still boosts your damage as much as Retracing Bowlight but doesn't require you to shield. Wanderer's Troops is not recommended but works, and 2-piece options should be the way to go for fishing high stats, which is often better than forcing a 4-piece set. As far as stats goes, remember that his Ascension is crit rate. He will basically always want an attack sense, a pyro goblet, and a circlet that is either crit rate or crit damage. For subsets instead, you just need crit, attack, and ER. And to be honest, Lyney is very simple to build. It's worth noting, however, that Sea Hunter users will probably prefer rolling crit damage artifacts compared to crit rate to avoid being over 100%. It's not necessary for him to burst every single rotation and might depend on the team and the set that is used, but usually you should have not a hard time getting the burst back, especially in his main team, which is monopyro anyway. For the weapons, I made a calculation you can check on the screen. Please do not take this as gospel, as results for weapons will likely change based on team and player. I would overall go for his signature or aqua or any offensive 5-star weapon, but consider prototype crescent if headshots are available to your skill and enemy's type. The new Matapa's weapon is also great, but a bit overkill on crit rate with Maruchusi. Song of Stillness, the new craftable, is also a great pickup. When building a team around a character like Lyney, the most important thing is to keep the pyro aura on the enemy for as long as he is attacking. While doing that, having 1 or 2 pyro units aside from Lyney himself will prove beneficial to further increase his ascension for talent and overall damage. This talent is really strong and should never be overlooked. The next best thing that depends on the player confidence and the enemy faced will be protecting him. His HP consuming mechanics paired with overall low defensive stats and having to charge attack will make him very fragile. Shields or resistances to interruption will likely benefit him a lot. Reaction like Vape and Melt are definitely not Lyney's forte, but that doesn't mean they are totally excluded when building his team. In fact, other teammates could in theory still utilize the Pyro Aura without actually removing it. An example would be playing a Pyro team with an off-field Melt character like Rosaria. Other reactions that can be used to further boost Lyney's team can be Swirl, absolutely amazing for him thanks to the Iridescent Veneer set, and Burning, which is viable but still not necessary. And now, a few gameplay tips. It's possible for Lyney to cancel his burst early by pressing his kill button, and since it only hits once per enemy and then have a final hit, it's worth doing when close to the enemy. Keeping him above 60% while attacking is the way to go for a perfect rotation. He will not lose any HP if he is at 60% or below, meaning he will not generate any prop stacks. Try to set up his team around buffs before his on-field window. A nice rotation for this team, for example, could look like Tia E, Kazuha E burst, Bennett burst, and Lyney's charge attacks. Then burst to generate one more stack, interrupt it earlier, and then skill for a huge nuke. It's worth noting that it would be ideal to have some stacks beforehand to achieve maximum potential of the skill, but unfortunately Bennett burst does not last long enough. It's also possible to burst to open the rotation, but a lot of buffs will be missed. And lastly, you can tell when his Pneuma hit is ready by looking at its vision, as it will glow with a Pneuma kind of light. Overall, I think Lyney is a great character, very fun to play around his HP mechanics, like having to keep him healed while he's consuming his own HP, but also has to charge attack, so you need to protect him. That's really fun, makes team building a little bit restrictive, but still fun. Of course, he is meant for Pyro teams and wants Pyro, but I hope we get more Pyro units in the future, because they've been a little bit neglected. I will definitely pull for Lyney. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched the entire thing, I really appreciate you. I have a written version of this guide in the description if you want to check it out. Also, you can hop on my stream any day. I'm live in the European afternoon, early morning for America, and late evening for Asia on twitch.tv/7evenplease. I hope you had a great time. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.